Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Street Attorney Podcast. I'm your host, Gerard Marrone. I am so happy and so proud to introduce you to two of my guests today. I have a very dear friend of mine, a client, Dionas Fernandez, and I have another very good friend of mine, Kevin Ernest. Now, this young man, Dionas Fernandez, I'm gonna take the liberty of introducing him and telling you a little bit about him. So, I met Dionas 2018, right?
Late 2017, early 2018.
Where he had a case, in Queens County, and he was charged with burglary. And we went to trial and we got an acquittal. So Dionas and I were on trial together. I had the pleasure of meeting his little boy at the time, and his girlfriend or wife, right? It was your wife at the time, right?
Yeah.
His wife at the time was very supportive and brought his little boy to court every day. And Dionas used to wear a three-piece suit, and his little boy looked just like him wear a three-piece suit. Very, very cute. And I got very close to Dionas, obviously. When you fight a case, you get close to somebody, you take it personal. And I got close to his family. I got close to the little boy. He was so cute. He was in court every day. And ultimately, we got a good result. And then subsequent to that, he had another case, but came out and changed his life. And we're going to talk about that. Kevin Ernest is a good friend. Kevin Ernest is an EMT by trade, but he's here tonight to talk about being a firearms safety, right? Firearms instructor. So Kevin's a firearms instructor, and what he does is he teaches a class in the 5 boroughs. So in order for you to get your concealed license, pistol license, and in my practice, I want Kevin to come and talk about pistols and firearms and what you can or cannot do with a firearm. And in my practice of law, I see guns all the time, right? And a gun case is probably one of the most serious cases. I probably have right now in my office probably 10 gun cases. Now, what's very interesting about a gun case, so a gun case is a C violent felony, right? So just to give you guys a little idea of the way the system works in New York State, felonies go from A to E. So it is A felony, B, C, D, and E. Underneath that are misdemeanors. Misdemeanors are A and B misdemeanors. And the highest felony you could be charged with is an A. That's either if you kill somebody, you sell a lot of drugs. And the lowest is an E. So criminal possession of a weapon, which is a loaded gun, whether the cops find it on your person or they find it in your car or your house, is a C violent felony. And it's automatic jail time. What's interesting is that I see a discrepancy between counties. So if you get caught with a gun in the Bronx, you're going to get one disposition. You get caught with a gun in Queens, or Nassau County for that matter, you're going to get another disposition. Queens is very, very tough on guns. I can tell you get caught with a gun in Queens, the first offer is 2 years in jail. Bronx is different. I get Bronx cases, I get gun cases in the Bronx that wind up with misdemeanors. I get gun cases in Queens and Nassau that wind up with jail time. And there's a lot of different things you could do with a gun case. You could ask for the lab report. A gun must be operable. It has to work in order to be a real gun. If it doesn't work, it doesn't fire, then it's just a piece of metal. It's not real. Police officers go to the police lab and they fire it into a big, big tank of water, a huge tank the size of this room, and they see if it works. So that's how gun cases work. But there's a lot of guns out there, and Kevin's going to talk about guns in the street and getting a gun license, right, and what you can or cannot do. So Dionas, take it from there. So we met 2017. You had a case. You beat that case. You got a new lease on life. That prosecutor didn't like you at all. The judge was a good judge. There was a female judge, but the prosecutor didn't like you, and she was angry when we got an acquittal when I walked you out of there. So take it from there. And then I didn't see you for a long time after that.
They had a secret indictment against me, so they were just trying to really, throw me under the bus. But you definitely beat my burglary, and I appreciate you for that.
You're welcome.
Like about 4 or 5 months later, they came to my house. They raided my house for conspiracy with drugs and guns. It was like about 12 of us. And I remember that, they took everything that I had, all my money, everything.
What county was it? This was Queens,
correct? It was in Queens, right. Yeah. So I remember I was stressed out. I was like, damn, I don't got no money for lawyers. Like,
I didn't even know you got arrested.
Yeah, definitely. So I was just, stressed out about, me being in there, not having, nobody to depend on to, retain a lawyer. But then I remember that I called, what's his name, Limby? He recommended me to you.
Okay.
So I know his number by heart, so I called him and I'm like, yo, can you please tell Gerard that I just got locked up, see what he could do for me. So from there, I wasn't able to speak to him again. But then I remember the next day, the court officer came to me and he's like, Dionas Fernandez, you here to see the judge? And I'm like, what do you mean see the judge? I haven't even spoke to my attorney yet. Like, I don't know, you need to go now to be able to see the judge. And when
you were in central booking, yeah.
Yeah, so when I walked into the courtroom, I see Gerard Marrone there. I was just like, my heart just opened up, like, what? Like, how you came, out of nowhere. So I really appreciate that. You held me down with, me, without me retaining you, all my family. You just found out that, I got into another situation and you came to hold me down, man. So I thank you and I appreciate you, for everything you did for me and for my family. And it was a good case. I was looking like 12 years and I copped out to 3 years out of that.
Right. And that was also a gun. That was a gun case and all that as well.
A gun case, yeah, definitely.
Right. So then you did your time, came home. You walked into my office one day, right?
Definitely.
And you come home from doing time upstate, and your life changes, right?
Yes.
You go on this quest, and I'm so proud of you, man. How you change your life and how you impact so many people. So tell us the story as to what happened. You kind of had a video that went viral and all that.
So what happened is, the relationship I had with my son, when
you had a great relationship. You were a good dad to your son.
Yes, definitely. So when I was incarcerated, I always spoke to my son. When I came out from prison doing my time, I was able to see my son the first 2 months. COVID was around. I bought him a PS5, just to let him know, your dad is around. I just want to be in your life. And next thing you know, my son's mother, she put an order of protection against me and my son that, she don't want me to have no contact with either or.
Right.
And
just because of your past. Just because of what happened to you in the past.
What happened to me in the past, she knew that I was in the street. She knew what I was doing. But, me doing that time out of sight, out of mind, she, decided to, move on with her life and, just worry about my son, which, I respect, not everybody got to be there for you, it is what it is. So I came out.
Some people are in your life forever, some people are in your life just for a short time,
Definitely, yep. So I came out, to look for my son. So when she put the order of protection against me, I came out, already found myself a job doing loss prevention. So I'm glad that the time, place, and date that she made these allegations, these false allegations, I was at work. So I did 2 days of central bookings. So when I went back to court a month later, I showed the judge that this time and place and date, I was at work. They dismissed the case, but I had an open case in Queens Family Court. So
right. So you go to Queens Family Court in Jamaica.
Yes.
Right. That's where all this began.
Definitely.
Right. And Queens Family Court in Jamaica is a very interesting place. You have judges that, in my experience, they prejudge, and they'll look at a woman, they'll look at a man, and in my experience, they'll instantly not like somebody. Okay. And unfortunately, most of the time, that's the man. Okay, so unfortunately, walking into a family court situation as a man, you got a strike against you, maybe 2 or 3 strikes against you. And I think you experienced that, right? Am I correct? When you walked into family court, you kind of felt like you were behind the 8 ball just walking in there.
1,000%. 1,000%.
So tell me about your experience when you went to family court and then you got angry. I mean, you got angry. Yeah. You were frustrated.
So when I went to family court, my case was open on March. As soon as I wasn't able to see my son, I went to court to file a case, and I guess she knew that. So what she did was,
you're talking about the judge.
Protection. She did the order of protection so she could be able to go in front of a judge before me. So when we finally went in front of the judge, she talking about my past, I'm a bad person, that I'm a gang member, just saying everything in the book just to make me look like a bad father. And, just because of my past history, it's going to make me look bad, because, I was incarcerated. I did some time. So us fighting in court, 2 years later, we finally came up with an agreement that I could start doing supervised visit to see my son.
You didn't see your son for 2 years?
Right now, it's been 4 years.
4 years, wow.
But, fighting
nothing. You didn't see your son for 4 years?
Yeah, 4 years right now.
And you came home, you weren't in trouble again, did your time, working, doing the right thing?
Yes, 1,000%.
And the court stopped you from seeing your son for 4 years? 4 years. Okay. That's a bad thing. So
4 years fighting for my son. We came up with an agreement to start doing supervised visit.
Right.
And when it was time for me to do supervised visit, she went to a different state without my consent or the court's permission, which was Florida. So when I went back to court 3 months later, she never showed up. When I went in front of the judge told me I need to find her, get her served, so we could continue the case again. And I told the judge, Your Honor, we already have an agreement in court. How are you going to tell me that I need to find her, get her served, so we could continue my case?
Which is almost impossible to find her. You have no idea where she went.
Exactly.
And if you did that, you'd be in handcuffs.
Yes.
By the way.
1,000%.
Okay. You'd be in handcuffs, by the way. And I would tell you never to do that. But nonetheless, it happened to you. So go ahead. So
me stressing out of just paying lawyers and just me trying to get my justice to be in my son's life, I just freaked out, myself. I took my phone out. I made a video, crying I just want to see my son. I've been fighting for so long. If y'all want money, take it. Because I feel like me working so hard, paying lawyers to fight for my son, it would definitely work out for me.
And I don't blame you, man. You didn't see your son probably at that point for 4.5 years. And you're missing out. You were incarcerated, so you lost a lot of time incarcerated that you didn't see him grow up. And then you lost another 4.5 years for nonsense. Right, just because you were stuck in basically the system, right?
Definitely.
And there's a video, right? There was a video out there that went viral, basically, and that's what started the movement. You have Father Speak Up, right?
Yes.
So, Frank, let me see that video. See if you could cue it up.
I'm telling you, I'm gonna fight to get my son. Y'all want money? Y'all gonna get that shit right here. I'm gonna get my son, nigga. Whatever I gotta do, turn that shit off. I'm a violate. I went to court and I did what I did. Dolo. I don't need no lawyer, nigga. Take the bread. Fuck is y'all talking about?
Okay, you're angry. Nobody could blame you. You're angry, and at the end of the day, it is about money. It's about separating families, which is not a right. And I gotta tell you, and it's not because I'm talking to you and you're sitting right here. You were a good dad. You were very good to the boy, And so, unfortunately, things happen. You made a mistake. You took full accountability. You were remorseful for what happened. You did your time and you came home. And you just kept getting beat up. So I could understand why you were so angry, you were so frustrated in that video. But that video changed your life in a positive way. Yes. It changed so many people's lives, right, in a positive way, because that started the movement that you have today, Father Speak Up. And I asked you, I said, is it Fathers Speak Up or Father Speak Up? And you said Father Speak Up in the singular. And that struck me. And I can almost see like a little innocent boy that just wants to see their dad, because it's important that, a little kid has their father in their life, mother and father. And I can almost see a crying kid, Father, speak up for me.
Definitely.
And I tell you, man, that's beautiful. And you created it from the heart. And tell us what you're doing with that now, Dionas. You got tens of thousands of people that follow you and look up to you.
So right now I got 37,000 followers. So that video, went viral. So when that video went viral, within a week, I already had about 8,000 followers.
And that's on Instagram, TikTok.
That's on Instagram, TikTok, all the platforms.
Right.
So right after that, a lot of fathers, could relate to that, because so many fathers go through this, but they just keep it to themselves, or they will probably tell a friend, but the friend will be like, yo, forget about that kid, just have another baby, it is what it is.
Well, you're right. There are a lot of people, they would give up. because it's like talking to a brick wall. Like, if you don't have the money, you don't have the resources, you don't have a lawyer to help you, and when you go to the judge and you get nowhere with the judge, you do feel like giving up sometimes. And it was almost by this grace of God, this video that you decided to do, is just like this inspiration that put you on the map and was able to give you a voice.
Definitely. So as soon as that happened, so many fathers started reaching out to me. I got 2 years, 1 year, 4 years, fighting for the same thing as you. And I decided to just make a movement, helping fathers reunite with their children. So what I do now is I help fathers file petitions, motion, modify their child support if they active fathers, because there's a lot of fathers that want to modify their child support, but if you're not an active father, right, I'm not going to make it easier for you and harder for the mother, because I'm doing this for fathers that want to be in their children's life.
Right, that are good
Definitely.
Men, good guys.
So, here in New York, you don't have to pay nothing to file petitions or motion. You can represent yourself, in different states like, New Jersey and things like that. Any petition you file, it costs you like about $75, $100. Okay. So
right, that's called pro. So if you file pro se, which meaning you file on your own, you don't have a lawyer. And one thing about family court is very pro se friendly. Yes. Like, you could go into family court and file order protection or a petition for visitation or whatever the case, and you could do that on your own, and it's very user friendly. I do have to say that.
Yeah, definitely. So now, me helping so many fathers, I learned, a lot of motions and petitions, to help fathers have, faster court dates or, file violations if they do an agreement, the mom doesn't show up, and, things like that. So that's my field. And then also, I make little interviews about what they got going on without speaking bad about the mother, because my mission is for the mother and the father to be able to co-parent, because it's in the best interest of the child. Right. So I don't want fathers to be bitter. I just want us to be a part of our children's life and just try to co-parent with the mother. And now I just realized that now in family court, they have an app. I forgot the name of the app, mm-hmm. but you could just always ask the judge if things are not working out between the mom and the dad. You could always ask that if you guys could use the app just to communicate.
Right. It's like supervised, and you can talk without any issues.
Yeah.
So because sometimes I even seen in my practice, there's an order of protection, but there's family court, so you could talk to the spouse. It could be a man, it could be a woman. It makes no difference. And they can say, well, you threatened them over the text, or you threatened them over a phone call, and that's all it takes to violate an order of protection. It's just somebody's word, and that's that's not against the guy, against the girl. It's both. I've seen women abuse order protections. I see more women abuse order protections, to be quite honest with you, in my practice. But that's just my experience. But I've seen men abuse order protections, and order protections are supposed to be a shield, but oftentimes they're used as a sword. And not only that, a lot of times, and men and women, they use the child. They manipulate the child as well, which is bad. It's a bad thing, because the only one that really gets hurt is the child. And I have always been a big believer in that. And that's really why I don't do family law. I don't do any family law. I do some order protection work or juvenile work, but I stick with criminal. I rather deal with a criminal situation than a family court situation, because it's sad, and it's oftentimes extremely unfair to one party or the other. I've seen women in family court get the short end of the stick, and I've, of course, seen men get the short end of the stick. So at the end of the day, tell us about your son. Did you finally see him, and when did you see him, and the relationship you have with him now, today?
So I still haven't seen my son. When I just went to court the other day, now that things are finally going to start working out, they told me that they don't want me to speak about my case. The judges, the referees, they know the advocate that I'm doing, fighting for fathers, and
so they don't want you to talk about your personal case publicly.
Yeah, now
they don't want no one to know that.
Now
they don't want no one to know that you're getting the short end of the stick, right? You're getting fucked.
So the judge just told me. Right now, temporarily, that I can make an announcement. Telling everybody that support my movement that temporarily they don't want me to speak about my case, but I could interview fathers and they could talk about whatever they got going on and things like that.
So how long has it been since you've seen your son?
It's been 4 years. But I actually did see my son, not seen him, but spoke to him on the phone because, you know, one day I got, you know, me fighting for my son, I got a blessing. I got 2 beautiful twin girls now, you know,
nice.
A beautiful wife. So one day I'm with my twin.
God closes one door and opens up 3, right?
Definitely. So one day I'm with my twin girls, my daughters, and my wife, and we walking, and there's a guy that started looking at me a little weird. So I'm just like, you know, what's going on? So I told my wife, walk with the babies, you know, she's in the stroller. So I jump in my car and I start following him because I'm like, the way he's looking at me, it looks crazy. And I'm like I got to resolve this, see what's going on because, you know, like I changed my life, but I still got to make sure that, you know, that I'm good, Gerard, you know. So I'll go over there like, yo, what's up, what's going on? He's like, you don't know who I am? I was like, no, I don't know who you are. Like, what's up, what's going on? Oh, you're doing a whole bunch of things on social media about your son. I'm like, yeah, it's my son. I'm fighting for him. I don't know where he's at. You know, I'm looking for the mother to get her served. Oh, he told me that he was my son's mother's cousin's boyfriend. Okay. So like, I'm fighting for my son. Like what's up? Like, what you want to do? Oh, now I respect your movement and you fighting for your son. I just don't like, you know, you putting everything on social media. You know, to me, I think that's whack. So I'm like, all right, like, what you want to do? He's like, I'm going to call your son's mom for you could be able to speak to your son or speak to him to see how, you know, if you guys could resolve the situation you guys got. So I was able to speak to him on the phone. And when I spoke to him on the phone, he directly told the guy, like, yo, what are you doing with this guy right here, man? Smack him up, you know, punch him in the face. And he's like, nah, yo, he's a great dude, man. He just wanted to see his son, and I believe that you should just let him speak to his son.
Who said that? Who said that?
The dude that was looking at me funny, that I reached out to him. Okay. He was driving, I reached out to him, and then we was able to speak.
So he got your son on the phone?
So he got my son's mother's boyfriend.
Got it. Okay, that's who said that. I see.
Yeah, so when he got him on the phone, then me and him had a few words, and he's like, yo, your son don't want nothing to do with you. He just had we had to withdraw him.
That's interesting, because who's this guy now in the picture? You know what I mean?
We had to withdraw him from school because you knew the location. I'm like, so you guys are going to blame that on me because I'm looking for my son to serve the mother, and I want to know where my son is at. So he's like, your son don't want nothing to do with you. So I'm like, yo, my son doesn't want nothing to do with me. Let me speak to my son and let him tell me that.
Right.
So he's like, all right.
And how old is he at the time? How old is he now?
He's 10 years old. So this just happened like about, I believe, like October this happened, 2024.
How'd you feel talking to him after all this time?
It broke my heart, and I'm going to tell you right now why. So when I finally got on the phone with him, I was like, what's up, Dionas? I miss you. You know, I'm your father. Oh, I don't want to talk to you. I hate you. I'm like, what do you mean? Oh, it's been like 3 or 4 years, and now you want to reach out to me? And I'm like, nah, but I've been going to court fighting right there. They hang up the phone, so I'm not able to explain to him that I got 4 years fighting. So he doesn't know about the movement I got.
He doesn't know how hard you're fighting for him.
Exactly.
I'm so sorry, man. That's a terrible story. That's horrible.
I felt good, you know, speaking to him. You know, when I saw him, you know, right now they changed his identity. Like, he got long hair. He doesn't really look like himself.
Oh yeah, I remember he was little guy with a shaved head, and he was cute as a button.
He got like long hair. Cause you know, I've been posting him on social media a lot. Cause I was trying to find him, you know, and things like that. So just, you know, it just break my heart, man. Just, you know, me fighting for my son and just trying to get the justice. So me fighting for a year. When I went to court this time, they changed my attorney. So the attorney that I had, the judge that I had before, she went to Manhattan. So now they gave me a new judge. So my son's lawyer was able to speak to the judge. So when the new judge came to start the case now, my son's lawyer is telling the judge, oh, the son doesn't want to speak to the father. He don't want nothing to do with him.
Yeah.
So the judge is like, okay, but why is the mother, not going to court? It was supposed to be a supervised visit. She
Right.
just got up, went to a different state without his consent or his permission.
Which is kidnapping. I mean, technically, it's kidnapping.
So the judge is like, how do you get in contact with the son? Oh, through the mother. When was the last time you spoke to the mother? Oh, I spoke to her last night, to tell her that I have court today. And what did she respond? Oh, she responded today. Okay, so we're going to give this phone number to Dionas' lawyer, and we're going to serve her through text message that she needs to appear court because,
wow.
She's been hiding for so long.
Isn't that amazing? You get a different judge and a whole different outcome.
Definitely. So right there, the judge is like, we have the proof that this is the phone number because you just said that you spoke to her yesterday, and this is the way that you get in contact with his son. So we're going to give this to the lawyer. So they gave it to my lawyer. She delivered the message, and then she was able to get it. So she was supposed to come to court November 15, 2024. Mm-hmm. She didn't show up, so the judge said they're going to put a warrant out for her arrest.
There you go.
So then she's supposed to show up on December 15 in person. So then she didn't show up, but then she showed up virtual. And her lawyer showed up in person. Mm-hmm. And then, we came up with an agreement. I can't really speak about it everybody said. Yeah. But, the agreement
it's good. There's hope.
There's hope.
Right.
And my next court day is on January 24th. And something was supposed to happen before then. I got like 10 more days to court, so hopefully it does happen.
Well,
and if it doesn't, then I'm gonna speak up because if she violate, any agreement that we did, I guess I have the right to violate too. Because
I can tell you, if you did that, if the shoe was on the other foot, man, you'd be arrested years ago.
1,000%.
Years ago. So I wish you very, very well. I'm very proud of you. I'm very proud of you. You know how I feel about you. You've come a long, long way. You did time. You're a man. You stood up. You're a man's man. I give you credit for that.
Thank you.
You should walk around with your head up high. So we started the segment with talking about guns, right? And when you went to jail, you had a gun case, right? You actually had two guns, right? That were on you, right? And that was bad. That's a bad thing. So the other side of that, right, is the right to bear arms. So the last couple of cases I had with gun cases, I sit down and ask my client, I'm like, what do you need a gun for? And I got to tell you, 90% of my clients who get caught with a gun just have it for protection. They're like, yeah, I just wanted protection. It's a crazy world out there. You go on the subway, they're lunatics. I just want to protect myself. So guys go out on their own, get a gun, and carry it, and get caught. And I got a case actually right now. One of the nicest guys in the world got caught with a gun. And there was an informant that worked with him. And the guy was working for the NYPD, and he was just ratting out people with guns. And he told on this guy, and he said, and he got locked up. Now he's in Rikers, actually, the guy. And but mostly everybody carries a gun for protection. But what Kevin teaches, he's a firearms safety officer. So you go to the range, Kevin, right? Explain what you do. You're going to the range, a firearm range, and you're a safety officer there, but then you give the class. So tell me a little bit about you. So if somebody wanted to get a gun legally, you're the man to see, right?
That is correct. Yeah, so I work at a gun range in Westchester County. I've been there for 4 years as a firearms instructor. First, I started out as a range safety officer. And a range safety officer is someone that's on the line to make sure that people are handling the firearm safely and correctly. Okay, and then I was very interested in it.
Let me stop you right there. And if they're not, you're not as calm as you are right now, right?
Oh, that is correct.
All right, give me a little bit, like if I have the firearm and I'm pointing at you, like I'm doing the wrong thing, what are you doing?
Well,
what are you going to say to me?
No, I'm just going to say, what the fuck are you doing?
Right.
You know,
you're going to wake me up quick, right?
I'm going to wake you up
dangerous.
quick because, there's no nonsense when it comes to firearms.
Right.
I always like to promote firearm safety, And I always tell people, you know, they say, "Oh, don't worry, the gun is not loaded." The gun
Every
is
gun is
always
loaded.
The
Correct.
gun is always loaded.
I've been hunting. I was hunting with my dad. My dad was in Vietnam, so he knows guns. And my dad was a crew chief on a UH-1 helicopter. He was a door gunner. He was a machine gunner.
Yeah.
So my dad was very well versed in firearms, and he taught me how to shoot as a young kid. And I went hunting. So the gun is always loaded.
Correct. Yeah. So then, you know, I spoke to the manager, you know, where I worked, and I said, you know, I'm interested in becoming an instructor, because at that time, in order to be a firearms instructor, you have to have a pistol permit. So a lot of individuals who start out as a range safety officer, they don't have a pistol yet. They may have like a rifle or shotgun or long gun license, but a lot of people are into pistols.
Right.
So because I had a pistol permit, it was kind of like a bonus for me, you know, to start out as it. And I took the course and I was able to shoot. When I first started, let me just tell you right now, I couldn't even shoot a target 10 feet because I didn't know anything about like sight alignment, trigger control, and breathing, you know. And
so you don't go out, like, you don't fire the gun like that, right? You know,
we do get a lot of people that come, and then, you know, when they start out, that's the first thing they do.
Yeah.
I said, you watch a lot of gangster movies, you know.
Yeah.
That's not the proper way how to hold a firearm. And then I would correct them, and then they say, okay. And then after a while, you know, but the key is you have to train. You can't just buy a firearm for your home for protection and then just put it in a drawer.
Yeah,
okay.
It's got to become part of you almost.
It has to become part of you. So, you know, I would tell people, you know, if you have the chance, try to train at least 2-3 times a month. You know.
Well, I took your class.
Yes.
Okay. I took your class twice, actually. And I took your class, and you were like, you know, learn how to shoot with your right hand if you're righty, but learn how to shoot with your left hand.
That is correct.
If your right hand is incapacitated.
That is correct.
If you're in a fight or in a go, because shit goes south quick.
Yes.
Fast.
That is correct.
You wake up and you don't know if you're coming home this day. That's just the world we live in today, unfortunately, you know.
Yes.
There's school shootings, there's shootings at supermarkets. There's a lot of crazy people in this world. So a citizen, an honest guy, right, that wants to get a gun legal, I always thought it was impossible to tell you, and I'm a lawyer.
Well,
and then when I met you, you kind of simplified the process for me a little bit. Talk about that.
Well, years ago, when I first started the process in like 2017, you know, everyone would say it's very difficult to get a firearm.
That's that's what I always thought. You can never get a concealed carry permit.
Unless you have a business.
Right.
Okay, and I was like, that doesn't sound right.
Well, you know, you have a constitutional right to bear arms.
Correct.
So I have the right to carry a pistol if I wanted to, and
yes.
Well, at least I should.
Yeah. But unfortunately, because the state that we live in, we have to abide by their laws. You know, and then I see some comments on social media while people bash, you know, New York City, you know, and stuff like that. You know, if it's your constitutional right, you shouldn't have to have a permit. You shouldn't have, you know, have to get permission. Okay, but this is the state that we live in.
Right.
So we have to abide by
We're bound
the law.
by these laws. Correct.
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 And you just have to obey them.
So I take your class, right? Now I have, and I'm certified, correct?
Yes, you are.
Because I shot a gun.
Yes,
right?
sir.
I shot dry, and you taught me how to shoot and all, and you gave me a certificate. And then I can go down to, let's say, you go down to One Police Plaza, and you file for a
right now,
carry,
because of COVID, they do everything online.
Okay.
So everything is done online. You fill out the application. There's certain documents that you have to upload. It's a 17-page application that you do online. But when you get to like page 13, there's a set of documents that you have to upload. And if you don't upload the correct documentation, it won't allow you to go to the next page. So some of the documentation...
It's like a portal, NYPD
yes.
portal. Got it.
So some of the documentation is needed. It's a passport photo, a recent utility bill, 4 character references, lifetime driver's abstract.
I got 4 people that said nice things about me,
yes.
believe it or not.
You did, thank you. I was very surprised and very humbled of their reviews because...
You know, I tell you one thing, though. I'm sitting in your class, and I'm looking around, and I'm like, damn, these people are going to have guns eventually?
Yeah.
You know, it's a little, but...
It's a little scary.
It's a little scary, yeah.
You know what? I tell people you have to embrace the awkwardness.
Yeah.
Because not everybody is a gun owner.
Yes.
You know, or there's a lot of people that's in fear of guns. They just can't stand it.
Yeah.
You know.
So now once you get, what I found troubling, I got to say troubling, right? So I'm a citizen. I do everything right. I take the class. I get the permit. I get my concealed carry license, right? Now I go out and I buy a pistol.
Correct.
And I can carry legally, right?
Yes.
But now there's places that you can't carry.
Yes.
So even though they give it to you, they take it away.
Yes.
They give with one hand and they take with the other,
That's
right?
right,
So
yeah.
explain that. So if somebody has a carry permit legally, you can't carry in Times Square.
You can't
You can't carry in the subway.
Subway, federal buildings. You cannot carry public parks, school grounds. Even if the school is closed 24/7, you can't.
What about the mall? I remember did they change that law?
It's still in question.
So you can't really carry anyway.
No, you really can't.
That's the reality of it.
Yes, but sometimes you just have to do what you have to do to protect yourself. I'm not telling anybody to break any laws.
Of course.
But, there's criminals out there that they don't give a care in the world about your safety.
The criminals don't have the rules. They don't they don't follow the rules.
That's right.
It's the good guys that follow the rules,
So-
right? And that's the issue.
I do what I have to do to protect myself and my family, and I'll deal with the consequences later.
So there was Frankie and I were talking about, there was a podcast of two guys were on the pod. One guy was interviewing another guy, and
Yes.
his gun went off.
Yes.
Frank, you got that? This is not our podcast, but this is somebody else's podcast.
I did see that.
And choices we got in life, those were your choices. Those were your choices.
Purchased legally
Somebody
in
got
the
shot.
state. He brought it to New York. He was showing it to his buddy,
Yes.
and the gun went off. He shot himself in the leg.
Yes.
The gun was so close that the blast of the gun cauterized the wound,
Yes.
and he's in jail right now.
Okay. Yeah.
for
So,
that.
well, that situation with that gentleman with
What did
this
he
one-
do wrong?
Well, number one, the firearm was in his pocket, and most likely he probably didn't have it in a holster. So the proper way to conceal a firearm or carry a firearm is to have the proper holster. Guns don't accidentally just go off. There's something that has to go inside that trigger guard and then kind of manipulate the trigger. So it has to brush up against it. So if you have any keys, if you have any chapstick, anything like that can cause the trigger to shoot. And I don't know what state he's in, but there's states where you could just go in to a gun store with the government issued ID
Right.
and just
Florida,
purchase a gun.
In Florida, I think you could buy a gun
Okay.
as long as you pass I think PA,
Yeah,
Pennsylvania, same
a
thing,
background check.
You pass
But-
the background check, and you can get a pistol.
Yes.
Florida, definitely.
Yeah, but the problem with that is there is no training,
Right.
and a lot of times people, they use their firearm and they think it was a self-defense situation because they feel that their life was threatened.
That's very interesting you bring that up. So let's say, hypothetically speaking, you have a concealed carry, you're carrying it lawfully, and there's an incident, right? I remember from your class you were very careful. So let me back up. Let me say this. If there's an incident, right,
Yes.
you better know what you're going to say.
Yes,
You better be able to articulate your story to law enforcement
correct.
in
So
the right way.
The acronym that we use is, so everyone heard the acronym of CYA. It's cover your ass.
Right.
But when you add a firearm, it's can you articulate? So you have to be able to articulate why did you use deadly physical force. Okay. If anyone has to use their firearm in a defensive situation, it's always best to keep the questions very small if you have to encounter with law enforcement. And my
Law
suggestion,
enforcement is not your friend in that situation.
no, they're not. Even though, let's say there was video footage of someone attacking someone, and the only way for you to get out of that was to use deadly physical force. Then now you shoot this individual. Now, there's cameras all over the place in New York City or wherever, let's say hypothetically, wherever this happened, and you was right. There was no way for you to escape that because
You're right, your life is in danger.
Your life was in danger.
Right.
Now the police officer is going to probably be nice to you and says, listen, we have the footage. We know that it was a self-defense shoot, but we just want to hear your side of the story.
Right. You're 100% right.
And what I do is I just tell them you're going to ask for two things. One is lawyer,
The street attorney.
and then the second one, I want to go to the hospital. That's it.
You know, and I remember from the class, when a police officer is involved in a shooting, there's a 24-hour, right?
I believe it's 24 to 40 hours,
Okay.
but don't quote me, but they have some time frame where they
A
can
long
gather their
time,
thoughts.
right?
Correct.
No one's allowed to talk to them for let's
Correct.
say 24 hours, right?
Correct.
So they're able to gather their thoughts. The adrenaline comes down,
Yes.
and they know what to say.
Yes,
For average Joe, for the citizen, we don't have that.
that's right. So
You're at the scene, law enforcement comes
Yeah.
minutes after an
And
incident.
you feel that you're doing the right thing by answering their questions, and you
Right.
feel like it's gonna help you. For now, let's say they say, "Well, how many shots did you shoot?" And you say, "Well, I believe I shot twice." Okay, but studies have shown in a defensive or a stressful situation, if you feel that your life is threatened, when you put your finger inside that trigger and you squeeze it until it's empty. So then now in New York State, you can carry 7 rounds, 1 in the chamber doesn't count, so it's 8 plus 1. So now let's say if you had it loaded to 8, and then you shot all those 8, but now you just told this officer, I believe I only shot him twice. So then now, because you gave that answer, once they do the studies and the ballistics and stuff like that, and it comes to find out you shot this guy 8 times, then that could be excessive. And they can hold that against you.
So you want to shoot to stop the threat.
That is correct.
Is that correct?
Our intention is always to stop the illegal threat. It's never to kill anybody.
Right.
Okay, so you shoot till the threat is neutralized or the threat is stopped completely.
Okay. So now, where do you teach people to aim for?
We were taught to shoot people, taught them to, when they discharge their firearm, to shoot center mass in the chest area. Okay, because that's less likelihood of missing that intended target. Okay, I had a student in the class, and she said, well, I don't want to kill anybody. I just want to shoot them in his arm or the leg.
Well,
and I said, well,
if she could do that, that's
yes, if you
she's
could
a
do
pretty
that,
good shot.
then, you know, you should be an instructor.
I know some gangsters. They'd say 2 in the hat,
Yeah.
so they just put 2 in the hat.
But the problem,
That's effective. 2 in the hat.
yes, but
by the
the
way.
problem with shooting an extremity, it moves. So by the time you discharge that firearm and then extremity moves, it can hit an innocent person.
And I've seen studies where, if I'm this close to you and
Yes.
your gun is still holstered,
Yes.
I'm on you with a knife,
Yes.
stabbing you
Yes.
before you even get the gun out.
So-
That's how fast
Yes.
a person can move towards you to hurt you.
So from concealment, if you have your firearm in a concealed manner, whether you have it appendix carry or strong side, which is your left or right side, if someone has a knife, the only way that you can probably defend yourself is hand-to-hand combat, because time and distance works for the offender.
Right.
So by the time you even try to reach for that firearm, you probably wouldn't stab.
Right, and even if you shoot somebody, they're still coming. I mean, they don't
Correct.
stop immediately.
Correct.
Yeah, that's
So
That's
ideally,
crazy.
21 feet is the minimum distance for you to shoot from a concealed
21
carry.
feet. That's far away.
Yeah,
You don't even know if the guy. I mean, that's like I'm fighting with you
correct.
up the block.
Yeah, but there's techniques that we show you how you can shoot from your hip. If you know, you don't have to always extend your firearm out. But as far as for law enforcement or anybody that has to shoot somebody, ideally 21 feet is the minimum distance that you can actually get off a shot.
Protect yourself.
Protect yourself.
That's very interesting. You know, it just seems like the regular guy just always gets screwed.
Yes.
You know,
Yeah.
well, it's very interesting. I'm very. So if people want to find you, Kevin, where can they find you?
They can go to the website. It's www.earnesttrainercenter.com. I'm on Facebook. I'm on Instagram. Just type in Ernest Trainer Center. I usually hold my classes every month. It's located in Queens.
Very good. Yeah,
And I
great class, by the way.
I try to educate a lot of people because there's a lot of information out there that it's not privy to certain individuals.
Well, I got to tell you, I learned a lot. And there was a lot of misconceptions about
Yes.
guns,
Yes.
about licensing, about what to do, not to do. And I'm a lawyer for almost 25 years. So
Yes.
there was a lot of things that I didn't know.
Yes.
You know, because when you're a self-defense situation, self-defense at trial, we have the burden of proving self-defense. And it's a
Correct.
whole different world. It's a whole different situation.
Yes,
But
it
when you're
is.
in the street, you know, you always hear the term, you're your own first responder.
That is correct.
And that's true.
Yeah.
Because there's nobody out there. We see violence in the subway. We see violence in the street. I mean, you walk in the streets of Manhattan. I mean, it's like a lunatic asylum.
Yes.
The lunatics have definitely taken over the asylum. When I tell people, I mean, it's funny, but it's really not funny. I say when I'm sitting in the hallways of court, the hallways look like mental wards, mental institutions.
Yes.
That's how crazy. People are just screaming and yelling. I can't tell you how many times I get out of the car in Hempstead, and if I go to court 10 times, 9 out of the 10 times, someone's right in my face screaming at me from the street.
Yes.
It's out of control.
Yeah.
It's out of control. But, you know, and it's like, God forbid you protect yourself.
Yes.
But protect yourself, be safe, be very, very smart. And I always feel like don't take, if you do have a license concealed carry, hope you never take it out.
Yes.
Plan to never take it out.
That's right. But you have to train and plan for just that one day when you have to.
Right.
You know, and I also encourage people to learn basic first aid, CPR. You know, just because it not necessarily has to be a firearm incident, but you could be out with your family. Someone could have a cardiac episode, difficulty breathing or choking. You know, how do you act in certain emergencies?
I love it. That's right. There's real stories from real people that I know, that I love, that I care about. Dionas, if people want to find you, how can they find you?
Father Speak Up, all platforms, you know, especially Instagram and TikTok.
Right, right. Beautiful. I love it. Thank you, gentlemen. All
It's a
right, let's
pleasure.
take a couple seconds.
Thank you.
Think twice when you come around here. Say the wrong thing and you'll disappear.